Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another DQ Labs conversation by DQ Labs. In today's webinar, we will be discussing exam preparation tips and tricks that you can use to crack NATA and JEE Paper 2 2022 exams. Today's webinar would be handled by Mrs. Meghana, who is a faculty at DQ Labs. Thank you very much, Meghana, for making it today's session. Over to you, Meghana.
Thank you, Rohit. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to know if I'm audible to all of y'all. Can y'all quickly send in your responses?
Yes, Meghana, we are audible.
Okay, I want all the students to respond.
You're audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you are, ma'am.
You. All right. So today, like Rohit sir just mentioned, we'll be going through, firstly, very important thing that we'll be looking through would be the exam pattern of both NATA and JEE Paper 2. And then we'll look through the preparation strategies that you can evolve, considering the amount of time that is left. Okay. So I believe, or I hope all of you all have already applied for both NATA and JEE Paper 2. If any of you have not, please immediately log into the respective websites for JEE and NATA and please fill in the application forms and submit it. Okay. So 2022 NATA and JEE are scheduled to happen towards end of June and July. So we'll look through it one by one. Okay. We'll start off first with the one. Yeah, the NATA exam. NATA exam is scheduled. So NATA exam is going to happen in 3 attempts this time. Okay. Last year also it did happen in 3 attempts, but last year was for the issues due to COVID that many people couldn't take up the second attempt and whatever reasons. But this time, very clearly, they've mentioned that NATA is going to happen in 3 attempts. So first attempt will be June 12th, then July 3rd, and then you have July 24th. Okay. Now, so how the scoring system works would be that you can take any 2 attempts, that is enough. If you take only 2 out of the 3, any 2 attempts that you take, the score that they will consider will be best of 2. Out of the 2, whichever is the best score, that will be considered. In case if you do all 3 attempts, okay, then they're going to take the best 2 scores and take the average of it. Okay, let's say you give only 2 attempts and one you've got 100, the other one you've got 95. So they will consider 100 to be the score. But let's say you give all 3 attempts and you've got 100, 95 and 90. What they will do is they'll take 100 and 95. So and take the average of it. It's not going to be best of 3. It is going to be average of the best 2 scores out of the 3 that you've got. I hope you guys are clear. So in case if you have any doubts, you can always put in the questions in the chat box. So once I'm done explaining from my end, we can take up the Q&A so you can get your doubts clarified. Okay. So whatever doubts you have, you can just drop in the questions in the chat box. So that's the scoring system. So it will be best of 2, or out of the 3 attempts, they take the best 2 score and take the average. Okay. Now, coming to the pattern of the exam. So you have, okay, the rest of the details as you see is on the screen. Every attempt that you're giving for NATA will be happening in 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So it doesn't mean that same set of students are writing both the sessions. It's just one session for 3 hours, which you will be taking up, which includes 125 questions. So when we say 125 questions, all of them are going to be online mode. Okay, online you will be taking up the test, 125 questions. So I don't want to call it as a theory based or aptitude based part, because it includes different topics, like the question paper includes different sections of different subjects, questions from different topics put up. So it's going to be a proper aptitude test, which is online. Okay, so you don't have sketching separate and aptitude separate. You just have the aptitude part here, no sketching. Okay, again, don't get confused when I say no sketching. No sketching just means that they're not going to give you an A4 sheet and ask you to draw anything. Okay, that part is omitted, but the concept related to sketching or whatever they test you using the sketches, those are converted into theoretical questions, and they do ask creative questions in the aptitude test itself. Okay, so don't just assume that sketching is not there and I don't have to prepare or practice for it. You need it for JEE anyways. Here they just test those skills that are required for sketching and the creative part. Okay, so it's a complete aptitude test for 200 marks, 3 hours paper, 125 questions it will have. Okay, the same goes with the second attempt and the third attempt also. So there's no change in the exam pattern for all the 3 attempts. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, if we apply for 2 attempts, then can we give the last 2 only? See, you can apply for 2 attempts, that's okay. It depends on which attempt you're applying for. So I think for every attempt that you need to apply, there is a different, I don't know if you have different applications, like how it happens in JEE, or it is one single application with all 3 attempts available in it. You just have to choose whichever attempt you want to do. There's no restriction as to you have to start with one and then do the rest. Okay, you have a choice. You do all 3 or you just do any 2 out of it. It's up to you, completely up to you. Okay. You can do that also, but then you just see, I would really appreciate if you attend all 2 of it. All 3 is your choice. You apply for all 3 as a backup and then attend only 2. That's also completely your choice. There's no restriction as to, you apply, you don't attend kind of a thing. No, you don't have to attend both the sessions, guys. Okay, now if you take JEE exam or CET exam, any entrance exam that you take, depending on the strength, they split you guys into different batches, different sessions, right? That is what this session is about. So you can, when you get your admit cards, you can either be in the first session or you can go to the second session. That depends. But you just have to take one exam for 3 hours. You take it in the morning or in the afternoon, depends on what time they give in your admit card. Okay. Okay, I think we'll go to the Q&A in the end, because if I get into it, we'll not finish the explanation part. So this is about the date, time, questions, number of questions that you have, and the marks. Now getting into how the question paper will be. So I hope all of you are clear. You will have 125 questions for 200 marks. Now the pattern of the question paper is, it is going to have different types of questions included in it. Okay. So when I say different types of questions, it will have MCQ. Now, what is an MCQ? MCQ is where for one question, you will have either 4 or 5 options. Okay. Generally, we stick to 4 options, but sometimes it can go to 5 also, for which only one correct answer is available. So any MCQ question that you take, total out of the given options, only one correct answer will be there, one exact answer. You won't have more than one. Okay, that is MCQ. Now MSQ, that is multiple select type, is that where you can have 4 options or 5 options, but then you can have more than one correct answer. Okay, it is possible for it to have more than one correct answer. So in MSQ, what you have to do is, let's say if there are 5 options given to you and 3 options are correct. Out of the 5, 3 correct answers are there. You have to mark all the 3 correct answers. Only then you will get the marks. Okay, let's say I'll give you a MSQ question for 2 marks. So if you have to get the 2 marks, you have to mark all the 3 correct options. Okay, if A, B, C are the correct options, you just mark A and B, you won't get any partial marking. Or if you mark A, C, and D, so you have a wrong choice that is made. Maybe 2 correct answers have been ticked, but there is a wrong one also, right? So you will not get any marks. Keep this in mind. MSQ works in a format where no matter how many correct options are there, you have to choose all the correct options only. The wrong one added to it, or you miss out one of it, no partial marking system will be worked out. Okay, MSQ means all only correct options has to be selected. So MCQ done, MSQ done. Next comes the preferential choice. Now, preferential choice, majorly, I think they've introduced this to help you with the creative related questions. Okay, how they put out creative questions is, I'll give you some examples. You can also go through the past year papers, like last year question paper. I'll show you where it is available on Edge. You can go through that as well. So how preferential choice works is generally they ask questions related to design principles. Okay, elements of design elements related questions, or sometimes they give you a sketch and they ask you to find the errors in it, or they ask you to check if the perspective is right or wrong, or what are the things that you can see in the sketch. Those kind of things will be asked. So how they put out this is they will give you around 8 to 10 options. Okay, now if you look at a sketch might include a lot of elements in it, right? It might have lines, focal point, or vanishing point, whatever you call it in technical term, and then perspective, 1 point, 2 point perspective, or there is shade, then 3D objects involved, some abstract element involved. Like this, there might be a lot of elements in a sketch that you're doing. So what they would do, they'll give the image of the sketch. This is an example I'm giving. Okay, this is not part of your past year paper. There were different questions given in your past year paper, but this is also one type. Okay, so they'll give you the image of the sketch, and these elements that are there in the sketch will be listed out as 8 to 10 options. Okay, now you are expected to choose any 5 elements that you can see in your sketch. When you look at the sketch, what are the 5 elements that you're able to see? So now this is also similar to MSQ only. Like how MSQ has multiple options that can be selected, this is also the same. But the only difference here is, depending on the choice that you are making, the marks will vary. Okay, see, I am asking you to choose 5 options out of 10, right? Now, let's say out of the 5, you have selected only 1 correct element, the rest all are wrong. Then you're going to get marks to that 1 correct element that you have selected. It's like partial marking. Okay, partial marking system introduced in your multiple select. That's how it will work. See, because why this preferential choice has come into picture is creative questions, or there are certain questions which can differ from person to person. Let's say when you're analyzing something, or there is a situation based question given to you. Let's say the questions that you guys just put out, like, can I apply for all the 3 attempts and just write only 2? Now here, I can't strictly say, no, you have to write all the 3. At the same time, I can't say, no, you should write only 2. Because it's your personal choice. You want to apply for all the 3 for whatever personal reasons that you have. And then you want to attempt only 2. Or maybe you might have a change of mind and attempt all the 3 also. So I can't restrict you definitely saying that please do it, please don't do it. Similarly, one of your friend might feel, no, just apply only for 2. Or your parents might say, why do we unnecessarily waste time and energy, or even money on applying for all the 3? Let us just only apply for 2 if you're writing only 2. So each one of us are looking at different perspectives and having our own opinions. Not all of us are wrong. At the same time, not all of us are right. It's just our personal preferences, right? So when you're answering in that personal choices, you are to be awarded a certain marks depending on what your thought process is, because nobody can be 100% right in certain kind of questions, right? Now, see, I am not a professional what do you say, like, I don't sketch, I don't know the technicalities of it. So but still, when I look at a particular picture, I can say at least some basic things. I can identify something that I know. That doesn't mean that I get a 0 mark. If I'm marking something based on my knowledge, then I need to get scored for it, right? That's why they've introduced this preferential choice. So you will have like 8 or 10 options. You can have more than that also. They expect you to choose like 5 or 6 choices of your preference. Depending on how valid your answers are, you will get the marks accordingly. I hope you guys are clear with preferential choice. Okay. And the last two types are numerical answer type. Numerical answer type is the case where you have a clear question. You need to enter the answer. Okay. Generally, numerical answer type, you will have questions related to mathematics. In case of NATA, you don't have like a lot of advanced math. It's just basic geometry and quantitative type of topics included, like percentages, time, speed, distance, age related concepts. All these are included. So numerical answer type will have math questions. Then you will have visual questions. So when I say visuals, these counting, um, type of questions, they count the number of triangles type, or they ask questions like spot the difference between the images given. So all these you have to enter the number. Okay, you're entering the values, so that's why it will be numerical answer type. Now one important thing you need to keep in mind when you're doing numerical answer type is that always round off the answer to a proper integer value. Okay, if you have the decimal option, of course you will have decimal options. Even if you are entering to decimals, keep the round off to 2 digits. Decimal, preferably if it is rounded off to 2 digits, it is better. Now one common mistake that all of us do is that when you're calculating, calculators are not allowed, guys. Okay, that's again another additional information. Calculators are not allowed both for NATA and JEE. So please be prepared to do manual calculation. Now, when you're doing the calculation, let's say you're taking a decimal value. Okay, let's say you're taking the value of pi, 3.14 or 3.142. Now, if you are taking the decimal to 3 digits in the beginning, you have to stick to 3 digits round off throughout your calculation. If I take 3.14, then I'm sticking to only 2 decimal values. No? So wherever you get a decimal answer, if you're rounding off, you have to round it off to 2 decimal and then only take it forward to any calculation. You can't take 4 digits in the first case, then take 2 digits, then do 3 digits. You can't keep mix match. The answer values also will change accordingly. So if you are rounding off, stick to the same number of decimals throughout your solving process. Okay. So in the end also, final answer that you're giving also, you have to round off to the same value. If I'm say taking 3.142 something, you have to stick to 3.142 type only throughout. Don't keep altering between 2 decimals, 3 decimals, 4 decimals. No, that will be wrong. Okay. So that's one thing. Yeah, so like I said, please round it off and then enter the answers for your own safety. Second thing, the next last type of question that will come is the match the following type. Match the following, there are different types that they can ask, but something that's very familiar is they can give you monuments, okay, architecture related, monuments. They might ask you to match it up with the states, or they can give you paintings and ask you to identify or match it to the respective, type of painting. Or they can also ask you art forms, dance forms, or they can even give you materials, list of materials like a brick, steel, iron, and things like that, and they can ask you to match it up. So any kind of match the following question can be asked. So just be prepared. Now, apart from whatever they've mentioned, one additional thing that I would want to say after noticing in the last year's question paper is that, so when they say numerical answer type, it is not just numbers. Okay. See, in case of JEE, when they say numerical answer type, they clearly stick to number entry because it comes in a mathematics section. But here what they did in NATA was they asked, which was actually a surprise, they asked few questions like fill in the blanks. So they just asked the question, you had to enter the answer. Okay, majorly those questions were 3 markers, and there were around 5 or 10 questions of riddles. Okay, riddle type questions, which were like very surprising to all the students because nobody expected that format of question where you had to enter the answer as well. So I'm telling this in advance so that you guys will be prepared. In case they do ask, there is a possibility of you getting these fill in the blank type, not just numerical answer type. So you'll have choice of entering text and also numbers. Okay. So that's about the type of questions. Now coming down to the marks, you will have it's not uniform marking. You will have 1 mark questions, 2 mark questions, and 3 mark questions. So they will allot the mark in such a way that 125 questions will give you 200 marks in total. So now which question is going to have how much mark, that is something you will get to know only through your paper. Okay, we can't really predict that. Only through your question paper, you will get to know which type of question is going to get what amount of marks. But one thing that we noticed, like when students told, was all these riddle questions were actually 3 markers. Okay, which actually, got, it hit the students a lot, because there were around like 5 to 6 questions and all were 3-mark questions. And if you don't know the answer, like if you don't enter it properly, then you're losing a lot of marks. Okay, that's one. So just be prepared. You can't really decide that this is this and go, because the marks might vary according to the question. And another additional thing that I would want to mention with the type of question is that, again, this is based on the last year question paper. Finally, they had asked us certain questions to test your observation skill. Okay, how it was is, it's a very common observation related question that testing that happens. They show an image for 30 seconds. So you are supposed to observe the image for 30 seconds. The minute 30 seconds are done, the image goes and you are followed up with questions. You can have like 2 questions per image or 3 questions per image, that varies, but they show the image and ask you the question. So you're supposed to pay attention to all the details in the image and then answer the questions that follows. Okay, this is also another type that was there. See, again, there's no guarantee that it is going to be exactly like how it was last year. But apart from what they've mentioned here, these two, like fill in the blank and the memory type question, were additionally given, which was like a surprising event for all the students. So I'm explaining that also. So you guys will be prepared and you are, mentally expecting something like that. So it will be an advantage to you guys. That's the only reason. Okay. So that's about the exam. Round off means we should do 5.5 as 5. Okay, guys, rounding off, if it is 0.5 and greater than 0.5, it always rounds off to the next integer value. So 5.5 will be considered as 6, not 5. If it is less than 5.5, only then it will be counted as the previous digit. So if it's 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, it is 5. 5.5, 6, 7, all that will be 6. But that's not what I meant. See, sometimes you can enter decimals also. Check while you're entering the value if decimals are being considered. If you can enter decimal, then you stick to, let's say you get 5.678. Okay. So after the decimal, I have 6, 7, and 8. So I can round it off as, because they're all greater than 5. So 5.67 can be written as 5.68. So I'm rounding off 3 decimals to just 2 decimals. Instead of writing 6, 7, 8, I'll just write 6, 8, rounded off. That is what rounding off means. If you have 1, 2, 3, 5, then it will be 0.14. That 5 is the third digit. So I'll round it off to 0.14. Okay, that is rounding off system. In case if you guys have any doubts, like all these minute doubts that I'm saying now, please ask during the class so that, I might end up forgetting it. So please, whoever the faculty is, you can ask us in the class. We'll explain it to you. All these minute details. Okay. Don't forget. So now coming to the syllabus. Now NATA syllabus is very, very, generic. They've trying to, they've tried to keep it as a very general aptitude test, not, not restricting it to a set syllabus. Okay, they just want to test all the students uniformly on certain basic skill set, and that's why they've kept it very, very general. They've not made it like how JEE has the syllabus and you have to learn all of those things. They've not made it that way. Okay, now so as the syllabus here says, you will be tested on diagrammatic reasoning. So when we say diagrammatic reasoning, in our terms, like the DQ terms that we are teaching all of y'all, all the visual related questions. Okay, it can be mental ability type or visual spatial ability, whatever name you have to give. Questions which involves counting shapes, orthographic views, or the mirror water images. Then you have all these puzzles that we give, jigsaw puzzle type, or clock related puzzle questions that comes up. Anything that involves a lot of visuals in it. Okay, that would be the diagrammatic reasoning. And also, like I said, questions where you have an image given and they ask you to identify the principles involved. See, they've given here elements and principles of design. See, all these will be put out, one or the other way to analyze your skill set in that particular stream. Okay. Then comes numerical reasoning. Numerical reasoning is proper quantitative ability like geometry related concepts, time, speed, distance, averages, or time and work, simple interest, compound interest, percentages. All these would come under numerical reasoning. And all these are not something that you learn in your 11th and 12th, at least not 11th and 12th mathematics. These are all things that we have learned till 10th standard, right? So the knowledge that we have, mathematics knowledge or science knowledge, whatever we have up till our 10th standard, which is common to every single student, they try to put out questions based on that. They're not specifically quoting it to a particular syllabus that is there only for the science students, only for the commerce student type. No, they're keeping it a general aptitude test. Okay. Then verbal reasoning, again, verbal reasoning, inductive reasoning, all these are your analysis type. Then you have direction distance or seating arrangements. All these are reasoning related questions. Logical reasoning is also the same. Abstract reasoning is more of general knowledge. Okay, architectural awareness related concepts are very, very important for both NATA and JEE. So that would be the GK related thing. One new thing, okay, was something that is, like I said in the preferential choice question type, is the situational judgment questions. So what generally happens in situational judgment is, see, we didn't see a particular question of this type in last year's paper, but I'm still explaining you how the situational judgment concept works. Now, generally, they will give you a situation, okay? And depending on the situation, they will frame a question, okay? Now, for example, let's say you're sitting in a restaurant or you're sitting in McDonald's, okay? Multiple people are sitting, they'll explain the entire situation to you, okay? A waiter was supposed to serve something and the waiter walks in and by mistake, the whatever ingredients, the Coke and the burger and whatever was there, it falls down and the Coke spills on someone there sitting in the table. And that person is, yelling at the waiter or fighting with them and doing all these kind of things. Now, the question can be like, it can be asked like, whatever that person is doing or however the person is treating the waiter, is it right or wrong? That can be one way of asking the question. The other way could be, what will you be doing or what is the right thing that you would do at that situation? So now there are different perspectives that you can look at in this situation. Now, I can say, is the person treating the waiter properly, right or wrong? That is one way. Second thing is, if you are that person on whom the Coke spilled, how will you react? Third, you are a third person. You're just standing there and looking at it. What is that one thing or what is something that you can do in order to, settle down the situation there or get the situation under control? So in all the three different questions that I asked, the perspectives vary. And depending on what I feel, I can give my choice of answer, right? So this situational base completely depends on that. Now, there is a common thing like how you learn in your analytical reasoning. No matter different perspectives, whatever the situation is and everything, when you're trying to analyze these kind of questions and answer them, try to keep it as a general perspective, like generally what is right or wrong. See, personally, even the person who's fighting with the waiter is also right. He or she got all the Coke spilled and they're in a mess and they're irritated and they're venting out, which is actually right from their point of view. But is it right at that situation, like where everyone's there? Purposefully, it was not poured on that person. It happened by mistake. So what is the right thing to do? If they're asking sorry, if they're feeling sorry, I should accept it, right? So that perspective is what you have to look into. Okay, that doesn't mean you should not give your opinion. You can include your opinion, but not at the cost of it's only you. It has to be what is right at that situation. Okay, that's about the types of questions. Then apart from this, like how it's mentioned here, when they say numerical reasoning, it would be basic concept of mathematics and majorly geometry concepts. And they've also said basic concepts of physics. Now, this is what I said, the science knowledge that we have up till our high school, till 10th. See, we learn the subject called as EVS, right? It's a combination of science, physics, chemistry, biology, everything put together. It's not like a neutral thing which is sticking to physics alone or chemistry alone, right? It's a general science. So questions like those will be asked. So when the minute you see the term physics, don't get confused that they will ask questions from your 11th and 12th. No, it's going to be very general, basic physics concepts. Okay. And also when we saw the number of questions that were asked in the last year paper, that asked around 5 questions of physics and I think 5 geometry questions were there. Yeah, 5 geometry questions and 5 physics questions were asked, not more than that. And 1 mark questions. All of them were 1 mark questions. Okay, this is based on last year paper. We don't know how they're going to ask what will be the weightage this year, but I'm just telling for your information. Apart from this, you will have language and interpretation. Okay, this is another additional thing. English will be there. They had asked reading comprehension questions. Okay, reading comprehension. So roughly around 20 to 25 can be expected. So what they do in reading comprehension is they don't just keep it as plain comprehension. Like they give you the passage and they ask like 5 or 6 questions on it, but they also include grammar there. So they might give you, an idiom from the passage and ask you to identify the meaning of it. Or they can pick a word and ask you to identify the plural or synonym, antonym, this way. So they kind of merge comprehension and proper English grammar. That's why they put it as language and interpretation. They have not explicitly mentioned it as reading comprehension. So whatever English that you've learned, I think 11th and 12th also we learn English. So the English knowledge that you have is more than enough to answer them. You don't have to break your head and panic that you need to learn something new. No, whatever you know is sufficient enough. Only thing that you have to work on will be the time management, because when they include passages, you will have to take some time to read the passage and understand it, and then you will have to answer like 5 to 6 questions under it, right? So you should not spend more than 5 or 6 minutes altogether to finish those 5-6 questions. If you take more, then you're losing time for other questions. So that time management is something you have to work on. Okay, so that's about it. And then when it comes to GK, like I said, principles of design, then color theory, color related concepts, then all these sketching related concepts. Visually, how you have to, how should the sketch be, what is right, what is wrong, these kind of things. And along with all of it, very, very important thing would be architectural awareness and GK. So, which is very, very important. Architectural awareness, architecture related questions are very common, and it can be materials or the concept of building, like what are the different elements in the building, what are the techniques or materials used, and like very well known monuments, international, Indian, then different architects, famous architects, and their works. So all these things are something that you have to pay attention to. Now, when you're looking through, even in architectural awareness, stick to current affairs. This year, very importantly, this year as in 2021, very importantly, and last 5 years, what were the major changes that happened, or what are the important things that you need to know? All these are the things that you have to pay attention to when you're doing GK. Okay. Okay, and please pay attention to this. Okay, all these have been mentioned, etc. Questions could be asked, may not be limited to those outlined. So this is the key point. No matter how much they say that this is what, this is what, this is how we'll ask and all that, there is always a possibility to give in a new element. So please be prepared for it. Don't just stick to that thing that, okay, this was the last year's pattern, so they will ask only this. You can always expect the unexpected in any of your question papers. Okay. So that's about NATA altogether. Now I'll also tell you where the past year papers are, and mostly all of y'all would know, all the DQ students would know. But in case, still at the end of the session, I'll show you where you can access it. And I want all of y'all to, whichever level of preparation you are, please take up the past year papers once. Take last year's 2021 JEE paper also, NATA paper also, so that you get a clarity as to this is how. Forget about what score you will get. If you want to, you can consider that. But I want you to take the test to understand the pattern so that you are clear. Okay, this is how the exam pattern is, and accordingly I have to study. That's very, very important. Okay. So that's about NATA. Next thing is JEE. Now JEE, they revised their dates. They said first they will do it in April beginning, then April end, then finally it went on to June. So this is very majorly done because of the board exams being extended up till May end and June, I guess. So June 20th to 29th, you will have the session 1. Okay. Okay. Now here the session 1 and session 2, they indicate session 1 is attempt 1. Even JEE is going to happen only in 2 attempts. Okay. For JEE paper 2, I'm mainly speaking of paper 2, 2 attempts. First attempt will be 20th to 29th June. Second attempt is going to be 21st to 30th July. Okay. Do we need to register again for JEE? Now JEE, they have 2 different applications for both the attempts. I think first attempt is already out. You can register it. Second attempt, if it is already available, you can register for it. If not, I think they'll release the application form later. I'm not sure. Okay. What happens if the dates of NATA third attempt clashes with JEE second attempt? Is it actually clashing? When is the array? Let me check. Oh, 24th July. And this would be 21st to 30th July. Okay, now that's a thing. As far as I know, that won't happen because JEE first, like the paper 1, whatever is there, it takes a lot of sessions because people writing for engineering are more in number, so you need a lot of sessions. But the ones writing paper 2, they need around 1 or 2 days, maximum 3 days. They're done with the first 3 days of the exam starting. They don't usually do it. And plus, I feel like they might know that the third attempt is on 24th. They might try not to keep it. But if that's the case, I would really say all of you all take out the first and second attempt of NATA. Because JEE, you can't miss the second attempt because you have only 2 attempts. So it's better you write both of it. But NATA third attempt is anyways going to be an optional one. Then I would suggest pay attention to the first 2 attempts and stick to the third one. Okay, what if worst case scenario, it turns out to be on the same day and they're not going to give you any lenience? You are to choose between either one of them. Why do you put yourself through all that? So it's better you be prepared in advance. No? So that's a suggestion from my end, but it's always, you can ask your SPCs also once. Maybe they will know better about it. So just check once. Okay. Is the registration common for JEE and JEE paper 2? I think you have the same application, but you have the choice of choosing, paper 2. So just look through that. Okay. See, application, like registration application related things or the results and how the colleges work, all these you can discuss in detail with your SPCs. They'll be able to help you out better. But so right now the concept is to explain the pattern, which I will do. Once we are done, we can discuss whatever doubts you have. So how much of a knowledge that I have, I'll update you accordingly. Okay. Now this is the exam dates. Now it's continuous. Okay. 20, 21, 22, 23 till 29th. Again, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, continuously till 30th. Okay. Coming to, so now paper 2 is been split into 2 different papers. So you have one paper which is for B arc, which is paper 2A. And you have another paper which is for B planning. I don't know how many of you all are familiar with it or who is writing B planning. But so you have to, initially it was not. It was part of one single paper with a slight change, I guess. But now recently, past few years, they've split it into 2A and 2B. B arc is what I think all of y'all are writing. Majorly all of y'all are doing B arc. So you will be writing the paper 2A. So for this, you have theory, that is the aptitude part, and sketching. Okay. And the aptitude part is going to be on online mode, and the sketching will be offline, where they'll give you the paper, you have to sketch and then give it to them. Okay. B planning will be completely online because B planning doesn't have sketching in it. So it's going to have only aptitude questions. So completely it is going to be online. Okay. Now coming to the marking system. Now this is a change that they've made this year. So please pay attention to it. Initially till last year. So, okay, first let me tell you the type of questions that you will have. You will have, is it here? I think I've not had it. Okay, anyways, so you have two types of questions in your aptitude section. One will be numerical answer type, and then the second one will be MCQ. Okay, numerical answer type and MCQ, two different types of questions. And the last one will be the sketching questions. This is how the question paper will be framed. Now, till last year, the numerical answer type didn't have any negative marking. Okay, even if you get it wrong, it will just be considered as 0. And only the MCQ questions had negative. But this year, they've made negative marking for all the questions. So technically for paper 2A, that is DR paper, you will be writing 75 questions. Like you will be attempting 75 questions in your paper aptitude section. So all the 75 questions will have negative marking. So each question carries 4 marks and negative marking is -1. Every wrong answer that you get, you will be getting a -1 to it. Okay. So there's no 0 negative marking option at all. So all the questions will be -1. And then sketching, you will do it for 100 marks. 2 questions for 100 marks. Okay. What happens in B planning is that B planning, all of them. So you're going to have 25 questions of math, 50 questions of aptitude, and again 25 questions planning. So that's the breakage of the questions. All of them will have negative marking. Okay. 4 marks, -1. This is the mark system. Now I'll show you the breakage of questions for BR. So this is for architecture paper. As you can see, mathematics will have, 20 questions MCQ and 10 questions of numerical answer type. So where you have to enter the correct answer. Okay. And you will have 50 questions of aptitude, which will be completely MCQ format. And then drawing, you will have 2 questions for 100 marks. So all the questions, each question carries 4 marks. Now here, one additional thing that they've done is you are to answer only 5 questions out of this 10. Okay, I told you, no, you're only answering 75 questions. 50 questions of aptitude, 25 questions of mathematics. But because due to COVID, they did a lot of relaxations in your syllabus, board syllabus and all that. They didn't want to cut short the syllabus in JEE. So what they did, they're giving you additional 5 questions as options. So out of the 10, you can just answer any 5. Okay, whichever is not part of your syllabus, you can eliminate them and just answer the ones that are part of your syllabus. That's the only change that they've made. That's why you will have 80 questions in total, out of which you will be answering 75 and 2 questions of sketching, which will be mandatory. Understood? See here, again, they've mentioned here also, the answer should be rounded off to the nearest integer. Remember this. So like I said, 5.5 should be rounded off to 6. If it's 5.3, it has to be rounded off to 5. Okay, so the decimal should be rounded off when you enter the answer in numerical answer type. And please remember, there is negative marking for everything. So every single question that you answer, be very, very careful when you put in the answers. All right, so that's about BR pattern. Now B planning, all of it is the same except the last part. So now for the 100 marks in BR, you do sketching. Here, you will again attempt another 25 questions for 100 marks. Aptitude only. That's the difference in B planning and BR. Okay. Rest all are the same. Like you have to attempt only 5 questions out of 10. And then negative marking is the same. Answer should be rounded off. All these will remain the same. That's not going to change. Okay. Now coming to the syllabus of JEE. First is the aptitude section, the 50 questions that you will be attempting. all those 50 questions will include architectural awareness. Like you can see about famous architects, then famous places, buildings, materials, objects, and all, and the textures of the materials. So there are things where they give you a texture type question about of a monument or something, and they ask you to identify the material in it or identify the monument itself. So these kind of questions will be there. Okay, that is 15 questions. So I'm giving you the breakage of the 50 aptitude. Out of the 50 aptitude questions, 15 questions will be architecture awareness. Rest 35 will be from visual, and it includes mirror water images. It can be like finding the odd one out, so that's like a mental ability type. So they might give you like a circle, triangle, hexagon, pentagon, and so you have to find the odd one out. Okay, any logic can be behind it. That's one. Orthographic views. Then counting is something that they don't ask very commonly in JE. Apart
Excuse
from
me,
that,
ma'am.
yeah.
Small doubt here. You told that 15 will be architectural awareness and 35 will be visual, right? So there'll
Yes.
be no all those, what do you call, mental ability questions like
So that's
age
what I'm
stuff or.
saying. In that 35 questions, so see, JE, they don't ask a lot of analytical or direction, distance, seating arrangement. They actually don't ask those kind of questions. The chances are very less. All these years we're seeing that pattern. Hardly, maybe in that 50, you might get like one question or two questions from mental ability or analytical reasoning. Okay, so the chances are very low. Majorly, they stick to visuals. But when they give you visual questions, like they can give you non-verbal reasoning, like finding the odd one out or puzzle type question. All these are visual included, but it has a lot of mental, logical calculation that has to go in, right? So you can't completely rule out the option, but considering like seeing how the pattern has been all these years, the chances of analytical reasoning, mental ability is very, very low. Majorly, like let's say if I have to split it, okay, I can split it as you will have 30 questions of visual, 15 questions architectural awareness, maybe 5 questions you can get something else. Okay, that's how the question paper has been all these years. But visuals, very, very important. They ask a lot of visual questions, development, orthographic, mirror water images. All these are very
Excuse
important.
me.
Yeah.
Another question relating to marks. In each section, we have to qualify a particular number of or a set
No,
of
nothing
marks.
like that. Nothing like that.
Okay, now. So in case
Oh,
you don't,
go ahead, finish it.
so in case you don't do well in maths, say, and you've not got a very good mark in math, but you've got the good marks in aptitude and drawing, and that kind of qualified you, but you've not got good marks in math. That means say that you've not passed math. That then
No, there's
what?
no sectional cutoff in JE.
Okay.
So they will
So
take it
overall ranking,
together.
right?
Overall 400 marks, how you perform, they're going to take that.
Yes.
Maybe these sectional things will be considered if in case you tie out with somebody else. So if you are in tie with the same score with some other student, then they will start considering how you performed on a section basis. How much you have scored in your math section, aptitude section, and in sketching. Then they might see, what you've got in, what is the order of age. All these things will get included. They've given this detail actually in the brochure. You can go through that. But if not, then there's no sectional cutoff. But by which you guys actually helped me. NATA has a qualifying marks. Okay, JE does not. But for NATA, for you to be qualified and to enter into the rank list, you should get minimum of 70 out of 200. Okay, 70 marks out of 200 you have to score for you to qualify the NATA exam, like pass the NATA exam. What you get beyond 70 is okay, but if you get less than 70, you're not qualified. But JE doesn't have anything like that. Okay. So this is the general aptitude, the 50 questions what you write, MCQs, that syllabus. Now, mathematics section, 25 questions that you are to write. So as you can see, everything like 11th and 12th mathematics syllabus has been listed out here. This has been the syllabus, they've not changed it. The entire 11th and 12th NCRT, whatever you learn, math syllabus is here. Only change is that because, like I mentioned earlier, because they have reduced the syllabus through board, whatever things that are been eliminated in your schools or through the board syllabus, you have that optional 5 questions. So through that, you have to leave out all the syllabus that are not part of and answer only the questions that were included in your syllabus. Okay, but they have not reduced any syllabus in your JEE portal as such. So they still stick to the same 11th and 12th mathematics syllabus. Okay, and then yeah.
Ma'am, will the questions for maths, will it be at the JEE level or will it be at CBSE level, ma'am?
JEE level.
Okay.
Okay. NATA, maybe you could have, NATA before when they had all the mathematics and all that, they used to ask CBSE and NCERT level. But JEE has always been JEE level. It is never on a CBSE level. The concepts and contents are CBSE, NCERT level, but the questions that they put out, it's always on the JEE level. Okay, it's on a higher level. So that's about this. Then sketching, of course, like sketching, whatever you learn, your perspective, shade, shadows, 2D composition, 3D composition, all that put together will be a sketching. Okay, and for JEE, they will give you the A4 sheets. You have to sketch. Okay, one thing that I want to say this, please remember, in case people like, you know, invigilator forgets to say also, please remember this. Whenever you're doing an exam, which is both online and offline format, not just JEE, any exam that you take, remember this, the question for your sketching will be displayed on the screen. Okay, so make sure once you finish the sketch, there will always be a submit button. Whether you sketch and give it to your faculty at that time, later, doesn't matter. But there is always a submit option that will come for any sketching question that will be displayed on the screen. So please don't forget to press on it. Submit the questions before you wrap it up. Even like, so you time your exam in such a way that I'll maybe finish it in the end, I'll tell you. But please remember to do the submit thing, because if you don't do, then it might be considered that you have not submitted the sketching questions. So that confusion also happened once. So I'm telling you now, so please keep that in mind. Okay. And then, yeah.
Ma'am, which questions have negative marking in NATA?
NATA, there's no negative marking.
Okay, thank you.
Now for planning, planning is like a combination of different questions. Okay, they ask a bit of quantitative, they ask a bit of you know, map reading type and planning and development related questions. So it's a GK comprehension type, then mental ability, analytical reasoning, all these will be put together in the planning section. So that 25 questions will include all these things. So what we commonly learn itself, nothing new, nothing out of the box, but they just you know, put those 25 questions together with comprehensions, critical thinking, like graph reading, map reading, all these things, like the basic things. Okay, it's actually not as difficult as how you have your math section. It's a bit easier. So you should just be prepared, like basic stats, like, you know, a percentage calculation or probability identifying, all like mean, median related questions. These kind of questions will be put together for planning. Okay. So that's about the syllabus for JEE as well. I think something that I wanted to show. Yeah. See, I've mentioned it here. Qualifying marks for NATA is 70 out of 200. So don't miss it out. 70 minimum you have to get. All right. So now I think I'm done with the exam pattern explanation. Let me just read through the questions that I've not looked through all this while. Once it's done, if you have any other additional questions, we can go through that. Okay. Okay. Can I apply all three that is done? Can we choose the time? I think you will be given the time. You don't have the option of choosing the time, as far as I know. Okay. How much marks are allotted for each question? JEE, all questions are 4 marks, -1 mark. NATA, the marks vary. You will have 1 mark question, 2 mark question, 3 mark question. So that will vary. Okay. Is it online? Yes, NATA is online. JEE is also online, but because JEE also has sketching questions, you will do the sketching on the paper, which is offline method, and you will attempt the theory online. Okay. The portions include GK, current affairs. How do you suggest to prepare for this? Okay. Good question. Now, this is something that I've been telling in almost all the classes, if I'm not wrong. GK, as you know, is a very vast thing. And there's no set limit to it. Like there's no syllabus. I can't say, okay, this is coordinate geometry, you learn this much, it is enough. Or this is simple interest formula, you learn this by heart, it's enough, right? GK is something which has to be learned and remembered. It is not something that you can by heart. You can't decide, okay, 1 week to exam, I'll sit with all the GK books and I'll read through. It never works that way. See, a lot of things that we know, we've been learning since our LKG, UKG time. We know a lot of things. We don't use them always, but we still remember them, right? We are not studying weather forecast, or we are not studying where the sun rises and sun sets every day, but we know it. If somebody comes and asks, if a kid comes and asks you which direction is this, you can look at the sun and you can tell whether it is east or west. At least that knowledge we have, right? How it works, we are not learning it for the sake of giving exam. We just know it by default. Your GK preparation also should be like that. You should learn things, remember them, only if it is necessary, you recall an answer. Okay, and that you can achieve by doing your research. Like, see, a lot of content is available on DQH, of course. You can read through it, you can refer through it, but don't just stop with what is available. Always prepare your own notes. Okay, let's say you're learning about some monuments. So maybe we have given you 10 lines of important information on Edge. You can do another 10 additional lines. And once you finish your research, you can always write it down. Like, in your own words, you don't have to write page together. No one's going to score you for the notes that you're making. But in your own language, maybe 1 line or 2 lines, you just make a note and keep, so that before your exam, it's easy to revise also. Plus, the more you keep writing, it gets into your head as well. Okay, and keep repeating it, like keep relearning it over and over again. See how it works with all these songs that we listen to. We don't have any intention to buy out the lyrics, and we're not planning to sing it on a stage. But because we keep repeating it again and again, by default, it just gets into our head. And it's not even, there are things that we know which is not even our own language, right? We just keep listening to that language song and we know the lyrics somehow without even knowing the meaning of it. The same works here also. The more and more you keep repeating it, the more and more you pay attention and make your own notes and things like that, you'll start getting better at in remembering those things. Okay, that's my tip for GK architecture awareness preparation. Hope it works. Okay, and do it every day on a daily basis. It should not be like, okay, one day I sat, I did research for 2 hours, I'm done, I'll do it next week. No, GK is something that you have to spend time every day, irrespective of how busy you are. Okay, so please start doing that now. Whoever's not done so far, please start doing it now. Okay.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, how after we give the NATA exam, how are the scores given, like the rank? How does the rank list come? And for that, our board marks, how does that work, ma'am? The rank system.
So see, rank list, I think, see, whatever I know, I'm telling, but still confirm with your SPCs once again, because they have a better idea about it. They would, after your NATA is done, your best of 2 scores has been taken. And I think 50% of your board score is also included to it when they prepare the rank list. 50% of your board marks and your NATA score is included together to create the rank list. That is what I am aware of. So if there are any changes, I'm not sure. Just talk to your SPCs to get a clarity on it.
Okay, ma'am. Also, should we write CET exam, or we have to
No. CET is not required to be written. You just have to apply for it. See, in Karnataka especially, all the college admissions happens through CET cell, right? So if you're getting into the colleges affiliated to Karnataka, like in Karnataka, then you have to go through the CET system. So that's why they ask you to apply for it. But the score that they consider will be your NATA score or JE score, whichever you're going to submit. You don't have to write CET. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, while attending the mock test, I came across little questions. Even though answer is correct, it was considered wrong. In these cases, how are we supposed to enter the answers? See, the condition will be clearly mentioned to you in your paper. Sometimes the caps or the space, all these could be an error. But as far as I know, when they prepare questions like these in the exam, they make sure all these validations are done. Like whether you completely enter it as small letters, whether you include capital letters, you miss out. See, if you miss out something, then it will be wrong. Like if you write it as, instead of writing it as the USA, if you just write USA, then I don't know whether, you know, they'll score you or not. So all these things, so it is better you be very clear in the beginning itself from your end. Okay. But I have not seen any such confusions till date in the question paper. Last year question paper had very clear one word answers. There was no question confusion as such. Okay. But be very careful when you enter the answer from your end.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, which drawing supplies can we take with us, ma'am?
I am not sure of the drawing part, guys, because you will be allowed to carry all of it. Like I think it should be, okay. They give it to you, give the list when they give your admit card. Okay, so just check through and go through the last year question papers of JE, and also if the coloring and all that is allowed, then you can carry your coloring materials as well. Okay, if color related questions are asked. So just go through once and discuss with Velu sir also once, because I am really not aware of what all things will be required for your drawing. So you just talk to Velu sir once, he will be able to help
Okay,
you out.
ma'am, I'm
Okay?
actually not, I haven't joined for DQ's live sessions, so I don't really know any of the teachers.
Okay, so we can do one thing. Maybe you can just leave a question on DQH, our portal, under the discuss session that section that I think you will have access to. Just leave a question over there. One of the faculty will respond accordingly, or you can just leave it as a comment under the YouTube video. The respective person will communicate, I mean, clarify with the person and then put out the response over there. I think that should be
Okay, ma'am.
helpful.
Thank
Okay.
you.
No issues. But still, with your admit card, you will have a list of things that you can take and you can't take. So just keep a check on that also. Is this webinar posted on YouTube? Rohit, will it be available on YouTube for them to check later?
Yes, Meghna, it's recorded on YouTube.
Okay, great. Krishna Sindura is asking, is it common cutoff for NATA or is there a category based? Okay, it's a common cutoff. 70 marks out of 200 has to be acquired for you to qualify the NATA exam. Only then they will consider your marks for ranking and all that. If not, no. JE doesn't have any sectional cutoffs, so don't worry. No matter what you get out of 400, they will consider the score. Okay. Is there a fixed number of questions based on the topics or the type of questions? No. Type of questions will vary. There's no fixed number. When it comes to the topics, that also varies. JEE, of course, it is fixed. You have 25 questions of math and then 50 questions aptitude, 2 sketching questions. So JEE is fixed. NATA, it varies. Except the thing that, like I mentioned, last year they had given 5 questions of physics, like science question, 5 geometry questions were there, and 20 reading comprehension, like English questions were there. Apart from that, rest all were varied. So we don't know whether they'll keep the same weightage this time also. It can always vary. Only thing we know is 125 questions. Okay. Do we need to register for JEE? I think this I asked, I told. If not, also you can talk to the SPC once again. Last year papers had chem and physics also. No, there was no physics and chemistry last year. Only in 2020, they said NATA paper is going to have physics, chemistry, mathematics. But then due to the COVID and all that, only in 2020, they had 1 or 2 paper with physics, chemistry questions in them. But last year, 2021, whatever pattern you're going to write now, that was the pattern announced, and they didn't have any chemistry questions. It was just physics. Even the physics questions, like I said, were from your 10th standard. No 11th and 12th chemistry physics syllabus. See, for JEE, if you're writing the first paper, engineering paper, JEE paper 1, you have to work on physics, chemistry, mathematics, 11th and 12th syllabus. But as you guys are taking up paper 2, which is for architecture, you just need to learn mathematics of 11th and 12th, no physics and chemistry. NATA though, not at all required. Okay. Is registration common for JEE main and paper 2? Yes, this I think I said. How will online work? They'll send a link. Online as in, I think you are expected to go to the center and take the exam, no? So they'll have the system set up for you. You just have to go to the respective center that you are asked to come and go take the exam. Okay. JEE paper 2 is JEE level maths. Syllabus is CBSE NCERT level, not CBSE actually, NCERT textbook level, but the questions will be JEE level. Negative marking for BARC, yes, it is there for both BARC and B planning, negative marking, not for NATA. NATA doesn't have negative marking. Questions regarding sketching. Do we get an option between sketching questions? No. As far as I've noticed, there are no options. They give you 2 questions and you're asked to answer both. See, for all these kind of questions, okay, about how many, will you have options or not and all that, on Edge, whatever paper that we upload it exactly how the question paper is. If they have options given, we include the option questions also. So just go through the past year papers, you'll get an idea. Okay, regarding
Ma'am?
yeah.
No, I had asked about the options for sketching because when I took up one of the past year papers, there were 5 questions for sketching.
Then in that case, there would have been an option. So it would have been of a format where, as far as I've noticed while uploading, what they do is, they might ask you to, just an example I'm saying, I don't know if it is right or wrong. So they might ask you to draw one of the following objects. You can have an umbrella, then you can have a baseball, and then you can have a chair or a sofa. Okay, so 3 elements are given. You can choose any one of it and sketch. So that kind of options they give. So what we do, because you should answer all of it and get a practice, we end up creating all 3 as 3 different questions. That's all. So when you see a same question, only objects are varying, then it means you have choice of choosing any one out of the 3. Okay, that kind of choice you can expect, but they won't give you like 4 or 5 questions and ask you to opt only 2. That I've not seen so far. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a disadvantage in focusing on aptitude plus drawing than focusing on all of it? See, personally, give your preference to all of it at the same time, because when you're attempting the questions, irrespective of how confident you are, how well prepared you are, at that moment, heat of the moment, it is possible for you to make one or the other silly mistake. And because it is, including negative marking, JEE, see, math, at least all of us will find it difficult. So we'll always have that second thought in our head that what if I make a mistake? It is possible for the answer to be wrong. So you will think 10 times before choosing the correct option there. But in aptitude, no, we will try to ignore the slightest thing also. We'll feel like, okay, this is the answer and mark it off. So you will start losing marks, by being overconfident. So please don't take chances. Give equal importance to all of it. But I would say, because math is difficult, all of you will find it very tough to prepare also, or maybe you're, doing it. This is just a personal, opinion that I'm giving. You can choose what you are strong at, like what you're good at. See, if you're learning for the syllabus of mathematics, then split it into categories. Things that chapters that you're very, very good at, chapters that you're average, chapters that you're not at all, okay with. So first, make sure you are 100% prepared with the chapters that you're good at, so that no matter what kind of question comes, I'll be able to answer it. So that level of preparation should be done with the things that you're good at. Then go to the average ones, prepare them. Finally, touch the ones that you don't know. But this I'm saying right now, okay? Now you have your board exams and in 1 or 2 months you have JE. So that's why I'm giving you this tip. But generally what we end up doing is, no matter whenever we start studying, we start with the least difficult, prepared one. So what you'll do, to study one chapter, you'll spend 10 days. Still, you will not be 100% prepared in it. So in that 10 days, you will forget whatever you studied before. So you're not 100% in the things that you're good at. You're not 100% in something that you put in efforts also. So your entire paper is going to be with 50% knowledge. Don't do that mistake. Always make sure you're 100% prepared with what you know well. Then work on the ones that you don't know. This logic or this thing technique you have to apply considering the time that you have. If the same session happens for the next year students, then I would say start with something that you don't know and then move ahead. But because you guys have like only 1 or 2 months left, also your board exams are midway, I'm suggesting this. Okay, so don't take it in a sense that I'm asking you to skip chapters. I want you to prepare all of it, but give priority to the ones that you know, prepare them, then move to the rest of it. Okay.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, how are the marks allotted in the drawing section of JEE?
So that varies because sometimes they can give you like 60 mark one question, 40 marks one, or they might give you two questions for 50 marks. So that completely depends on it. So, but you will only, they've told you like you'll have two questions for 100 marks. So it's a proper split.
Ma'am, what are the parameters on which they'll give us marks for the drawing
I'm not
section?
sure of it. Actually, it is there in your past year questions, no? Like question paper will have the parameters on which they'll score you. You can just go through that. I'll show you where it is available. Maybe I'll open a paper and show it to you for you to get an idea. If not, I think JEE question papers are available online, no? It is there in the portal. NATA is not available, but JEE is. So you can just go through the past year papers like as PDF. You'll get a clarity.
Okay, thank you.
Then can we review our answers? Yes, you can. But again, please don't leave it at review. If you leave it at review, you're not going to get any marks to it. See, you can only leave it for review if, you know, if you want to check, like you marked some question, you want to change the answer, review it later, right? So if you leave something at review, it will be considered as unanswered. So you will lose marks. So make sure whatever you mark for review at the end, revisit them and submit it properly.
Ma'am, small doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
When you say apply for CAT, do we register for it? Or
I'm not able to hear you. Can you be a little louder?
You told that time that we should apply for CET.
Yes.
The registration has begun yesterday. So do we register for it?
I think you have to, yeah, you have to apply for it. If it's begun yesterday, then see, you will get an update on like DQ WhatsApp groups also. But yeah, you can apply for it. So you have to apply for it so that through the NATA scores, you will get into the respective, what do you say, colleges, college entrance system that goes on, all counseling and all those process. So through CET cell only it happens, no? So you have to apply for it. I think CET and CommonK both. But again, I'm repeating the same thing. If you are a DQ student, talk to your SPCs. If you're a non-DQ student, I would suggest you leave a message in the YouTube section so that the respective person will give you the clarifications after the session, maybe in a day or two. Okay.
But when we apply for CET, we also get the hall ticket, like after a month or two.
Yeah, but you don't have to go write the exam.
So
you just
no
have to
worry
apply.
If you get the hall ticket.
Yeah, no problem. You just have to apply for it because finally when you're attaching the scorecard, you're going to attach your NATA or JEE scorecard. I don't know which you have to do, or you have to submit both. I don't know, but something like that. There is an entire system that comes in. So that's why I'm saying. So talk to the SPCs because they'll have much more clarity on it. Okay?
Ma'am?
Yeah.
In the counseling, will be given the choices of the colleges we would like to like go through?
Yes, that's how counseling works. They will give you the choice depending on the rank of yours. You will have a list of colleges that you can choose. So you can choose the college. So you can, I think, I don't know if it's only one college that you can choose, or you can give one or two choices, A, B, C type. And so you then when during your counseling, you can see if the seats are available, you can get into it. If not, there is always a second round of counseling that happens. So there are few people who wait for second round because some students might have different plans. So they would move to some other place. So their seats might be available in the second round. So they wait. Sometimes people wait till third round also. So counseling is an entire process, but they always give you the choice of choosing the college that you want.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Is it better? See, if you are joining NIT, do we also need NATA? See, NATA generally is required for any architecture college, but for NITs and IITs, I think it would be JEE. But NIT, does it have architecture? I think architecture is available only in IITs, no? I don't know, I'm not sure. Just check. If NIT,
2 IITs and 5-6 NIT.
Then okay. Then in that case, you need JEE. You have to write JEE to get into NITs and IITs mainly. But if you're not targeting for NITs and JEEs, NITs and IITs, then NATA is enough. JEE also will be considered anyway. So writing both is there.
Ma'am, through JEE paper 2 only 13, 14 colleges are there.
Yeah, so if you want to get into NIT or IIT's, JEE paper 2 is must and should. You can't get through NATA. You have to write JEE paper 2. Okay. Okay, I think I'm done with the questions under the chat section. So are there any other questions in the YouTube?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, will be given centers to attend online or online exam at home, because last year we had both option.
So at this time, have they given any such option in your application?
No.
They'll make it very clear when you apply. So they've not given you any option of taking it from home, right? So then it will be, you have to go to the center and then take it up. It's not home based. Because if anything like that is there, then they will clearly mention it in your application itself, whether you're taking the exam from home or you want to go to the center, so that they can allocate the center accordingly. But if that option is not given to you in the application, it means all of y'all will have to go to the center and take the exam there, whether it is NATA or JEE. Okay. Do we require to write JEE to get into SPA? I think yes. Okay. What is the difference between JEE aptitude and NATA aptitude? So like I said, to get into IITs, NITs, JEE is must. NATA, to get into any architecture college, you need NATA. So if your target is only to get into IITs and you are confident that you will get through JEE, then you can stick to only JEE, and some people don't even write NATA. But as an option to get into any other college, you need, what if JEE doesn't work out, you'll have to write NATA. So that's why people generally write both NATA and JEE. Do we need to write CET to enter Ramaya, or is NATA enough? See, I'll repeat again and again. I'm telling you, please communicate with the respective SPCs immediately for all these clarifications. But NATA, applying for CET is enough. Later on, when they ask you to add your admit cards or score cards, whatever you call, you have to add your, attach your NATA and JEE scorecard to your CET. That's enough. You don't have to write the CET exam. But applying for CET is very, very much required if you're taking exam from Karnataka. Okay, like if you're opting for Karnataka colleges, and I think you have an option called as Comet K if you're outside Karnataka. So you have to apply for that in case if you're not from Karnataka. Okay, so these are the two things. So just go through again. Please clarify with the SPCs, BQ students. Yes, Rohit, are there any other questions, Rohit, on the YouTube chat?
No, Meghna, there are no questions on YouTube.
No question. I
No.
think in that case, I'm done for the meeting. Any other questions, guys? Just give me 1 second. If you have any questions, just drop it out on the chat. Any other questions? Oh, past year papers. Thank you. Thank you for reminding. Okay. So this is h.dqlabs.in. Okay.
Ma'am, also.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm writing only one attempt of JEE. Is that fine?
I am not sure. I would suggest you take both of it, if possible.
Okay, ma'am.
Because you'll have enough time for the second attempt, and the first attempt is always goes with that nervous thing of, you're prepared but still not completely prepared, and you don't know how the paper is going to be and all that things, no? So you'll be stressed out. So if you take the second attempt,
wouldn't NATA and JEE paper 2 crash, like the attempt?
Yeah, then do the first 2 attempts of NATA, no?
I thought of taking the July 3rd and the July 24th, because I'll have a lot of time to prepare for that, because our boards are ending in the month of June.
I know, I agree to it, but I don't know. I somewhere feel it's better, you take both the attempts of JEE if you're keen on JEE.
Okay, okay, fine.
Personal suggestion. Okay.
Okay,
And
thank you.
similarly, NATA also, if you're doing that, then do all the 3 attempts, because they're anyways going to take best of, 2. Or if you're writing all the 3, best 2 scores, average will be taken. So
Okay,
it's fine. You can do that also.
Okay,
What if
thank
your NATA and JE doesn't clash? Then you will be able to write both, no? So that way.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No issues. Okay, so now all those DQ students will know, all non-DQ students, we have a online platform called as edge.dqlabs.in. You guys can log into it and check. So here under NATA, whatever exam pattern I explained all this while. So if you go, so there are 2 sections, learn and take tests. Okay, test and exercises. If you click on the learn section, you will have something called as exam structure. Okay, essentials. When you click on it, you will find the exam pattern for both NATA and JE. Whatever I just explained is already put up here along with the syllabus and stuff, so you can go through that. First thing.
Ma'am, so this NATA will be according to 2021, na?
2022.
Okay,
2022 exam pattern. This year 2022 exam pattern. What we discussed today in the session was the 2022 exam pattern. Okay. And so this is about the exam pattern. Now, when you go to the test exercises section, so you have multiple tabs here. I don't know which tab might come for you. So you can always just, if you click on it, it moves. Now find the tab that says past year papers. Okay. And as you can see, NATA July 2021 paper is actually free. This is mainly for the non-DQ students, I'm saying. You can access this whether you are paid student, you're not paid, whatever it is, you will have access to it. So please log in and check. You can go through the paper, okay, so that you'll get a clarity as to how the paper was last year. This is about NATA. Similarly, if you scroll down, you will also get access to the BR paper. Okay, even this is free. You have BR, B planning, both of it is available for free. 2021 paper. So please attempt them also so that you'll get an idea about the type of questions. Now coming to the sketching question. So sketching question, as you can see, the first question, okay, they've clearly mentioned you have to answer any one out of the first one. So this is 1A, this is 1B. So you are to answer only any one, so which was for 50 marks. Okay, and here also they are given 2 options. So either you draw a scene of kite festival or you do these 2D composition type, sorry, 3D composition, any one of these. So they had given you options. These kind of options you can expect. Okay, and see they've told using colors, so which means you can carry your colors as well. Okay, that's about the past year paper where you can find it. So please go through it, attempt them, and then accordingly plan your preparation. Okay. Oh, thank you, Rohit. See, Rohit has updated the Edge link, DQ Edge link, so you can access that also for you to check through the portal. So what marks give what rank for JE? Okay, what marks give what rank is a little difficult because JE works on percentile basis. But I can suggest the marks that you have to get for a good ranking. So out of 400, anything that is above 250, 280 will be considered as good. I'm saying like a minimum scale, 280 plus, so ideally it should cross 300, but I'm keeping it on a lower scale. So anything 280 and above will be considered as a good score. 280 to 300 above out of 400 will be a good score. Okay, so plan accordingly. Sketching, how many marks you will get. NATA doesn't have drawing section. You only have all aptitude section, 125 questions for 200 marks. All right. All right. So I think we're done with the discussion. Any other questions you can ask?
Thank you very much, Meghana, for
Ma'am.
this wonderful session. It was a very informative session. So hope all the students got to know the tips and tricks to crack NATA exam and JEE paper 2 exam.
Hope you found it useful, guys. Thanks a lot for being a part of it. All the very best for your exams. Do well. Any help required, you can always contact us, DQ students, non-DQ students. Please do log in DQH and check through them. The discussion portal is anyways available. Put in your queries. We'll try to help as much as we can. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ma'am,
Yes.
so if I apply for all the 3 sessions of NATA but just attend 2, is that fine? Like, does that matter?
No, it's fine. You attempt, you apply for 3 and attempt 2. That's not an issue.
Okay, ma'am.
But
Thank you,
make sure
ma'am.
you attempt 2, at least 2 for sure.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.